nothing quite like racing back into Haulover Inlet after a rough day on the water. As you can tell from these conditions, this is going to be a little different than the last episode. We've got some great conditions for some action in Haulover Inlet today. Even though it's not big, it's nice, tight, packed, and here we go. Welcome back, it's your boy Broncos Guru, guys, and it's this week's episode of Boats vs. Haulover Inlet, where man and machine take on Mother Nature down in Miami, Florida. Our first boater to take on Haulover Inlet this week is going to be the little Stingray that could. I really am surprised at this one. It might not look too bad when you look at these video clips, but as you can tell from that catamaran racing in at the beginning of this video, it is a pretty rough day in Haulover, and seeing a boat out in these conditions this size is just absolutely astonishing. Yet, these guys are actually doing a pretty good job. They're not having any issues coming back into Haulover. They're not taking any spray over the bow. They're going a little slow, but once again, that's probably due to the size of the boat they have. They have to take this a little slower than some of the guys we normally are seeing come through. But these guys are showing it can be done on a smaller vessel, and this round's definitely going to the boats. Our second contestant to battle Haulover Inlet this week is going to show us what it's like when we've got an urge to go fishing and it doesn't matter what the conditions are like. Here we're going to see this little center console Dusky coming back into Haulover Inlet. And as you can tell by the fishing poles, he was just out having a good time catching him some tail. It always amazes me when I see these fishermen come back in, especially in these smaller boats. This one right here, I can't tell the exact size, but it looks like it's got to be in that 21 to 24 foot size, which is pretty small to be out in the kind of conditions we're seeing here. I know this doesn't look that rough coming through Haulover today, and once again, it's because the size of the waves right here in Haulover aren't that bad, but I'm going to show you a few images a little later on to really show you what some of these guys were actually dealing with. This round right here, once again, this one's also going to go to the boats though. Well, things really aren't looking good for Haulover here in the first two rounds as it goes down 2-0 early, and now we got a pair of tag team heavyweights stepping into the ring, but this is something we saw a lot of on this day, which is one of the surprising reasons those smaller boats being out made those wins even more impressive. Right here you can see we've got some big boy boats, and they are turning around. This is a Midnight Express with quad motors, and it peeked out the inlet and decided before it even got anywhere near anything rough, it was going to turn around, and followed by this 40-foot Pursuit that had trip motors that did the exact same thing. We really saw quite a bit of this on this day. We in fact probably saw as many boats turn around at the inlet as we actually saw try and get out. Once again, making those first wins more impressive, but this round definitely goes to Haulover. Our fourth person to step in the ring with Haulover this week is going to show us what it's like when we give Haulover a little fake out. Here we're going to see this twin-engine cobia coming out of Haulover Inlet, and things look pretty good. They actually got a good pace going, everybody seems to be holding onto the boat well, the boat seems to be running good, and everything seems to be just fine. And this should be an easy takedown win for the boats. At least that's what you would think. Until you get to right around here, for whatever reason, these guys decide this sucks and we are going back in. Once again, we saw a lot of turnarounds this day, but it is pretty impressive when we see boats like this make it out pretty easily and decide they're going to actually turn around once they're already out of the inlet. This round will wind up going to Haulover Inlet since they had to turn around, but today's been a strange day, and the main reason is things are a little deceptive right here. Usually we see a lot of rough conditions in Haulover, but today things are actually a little rougher just outside of Haulover, as will be shown by these images from this charter boat. As you can tell, as they're exiting Haulover Inlet, you can see there's a heavy current, but overall, nothing too terrible. Nothing a boat of this size should not be able to handle fairly easily, and they feel probably fairly confident they're getting out of Haulover and on their way out to their charter until they get just a little bit offshore and things change. This is what it looks like a few hundred yards outside of Haulover Inlet on this day. So Haulover is not really necessarily the battle point today. It's once they got outside of Haulover, there were some massive waves and winds these guys were dealing with, causing most of these boats to either not even bother going out or to turn around once they got out. This is how bad it was. Even our fifth boat here, this charter boat, called it a day. They decided they were not going to take their charter. They got a little bit out, decided they were going to go ahead and turn it around and give the win to Haulover, which is going to give Haulover the win in this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boats vs. Haulover. If you did, be sure to check out our other two channels. We have Wavy Boats, who gets us all this great footage from Haulover Inlet, and my channel, Broncos Guru. We do lots of comedy boating videos over there as well. And if you haven't already, guys, go ahead and drop an anchor on that subscribe button.